So I'm a product manager with FICO, and I'm here with my colleague, Tom.
Hi, Tom. I'm engineering manager for the product.
So we're going to be sharing with you one of our newer platforms. And this platform really brings together stream processing with some fundamental features that impact use cases that I think all of you and us have to deliver on. So if we go to the next slide. So FICO, everyone knows, or anyone knows what FICO does? Okay, so that FICO score, if each of you have a credit card, you're probably using some form of a score. There's 10 billion of those scores, and that score is really the result of a predictive model that for years and years has been used as a data-driven decision when you're looking for credit in the consumer space. Some of you are visitors to New York, so you're out buying things on your credit card, and it's highly likely that behind the scenes, your bank's actually using one of our fraud offerings that's doing those 15,000 or so calculations in 40 to 60 milliseconds, so you're not, declined a purchase if you're truly looking for one. But going beyond financial services, we actually operate in a number of other areas. So those of you who made travel in the US, you stepped up to a TSA agent and offered them your boarding docs. And at that point, there's a little green signal that comes on, hopefully, behind the TSA agent's screen, and that's a FICO analytic that's being called into action. And beyond the TSA example, for those of you who like getting offers, some of our retail clients use our offering. What's happening there is your behavior is actually subject to thousands of models because most retailers have so many things in their store that you have to look at the behavior across these thousands or so models to determine what's the right offer for you. So why would we be in the business of developing our own platform? So if we go to the next one. So our problem and our challenge is all these models and all these decisions require data. We're really trying to impact data-driven decisions. And so our challenge, I'm guessing yours too, is that dealing with data is a complicated business, right? So there's a bevy of solutions. There's your all familiar ETL tools. And at this point, you're still talking transport. Nothing amazing has happened to that data. It's moving from one point to another. You've got to probably cleanse that data. We're really to that far end there. We're trying to make that decision, that fraud, that offer. And so if we have to kind of do all these complicated steps to run to that point, it makes our life difficult. I'm guessing the same with you too. And not just complex, it becomes expensive. So, so you're wondering, what does this have to do with stream processing? So if you go to the next one, what we started to think about is, hey, we did this for fraud, right? So how can we go in other decisions from raw to decision ready? What do I mean by that? So, I have that raw transaction. That raw transaction hasn't told me anything. But how do I go from that to understanding you want an offer, this is not fraudulent? That's really what we mean by decision ready. And so this is really where stream processing comes into play, right? Stream processing natively allows you to kind of make your stream smart, but it's something that all of us haven't really used. So if we go to the next one, really what we start to think about is, hey, this is really good, right? Other communities are starting to think about this. I'm using Storm as my example. So the Storm community has done really well to elevate the conversation around stream processing. But if we build out the whole slide, this is how you would do it, right? So lots of code. I know this is a developers conference, and developers love to have lots of code, but the nightmare becomes that one's got to build and maintain all this custom code. So great. So stream processing, you just said stream processing is good. Now you said, no, that's bad. We have to build and maintain custom code. So how do we do this? So if we go to the next one, we start to think about this in sort of simpler paradigms. We want to really focus on that decision. We want to make, however, that mechanics both easy and relevant, right? So how do we make that happen? Well, we leverage what stream processing has been doing for years and years. So if I tell you that stream processing is not new, streaming analytics is not new, some of you might say she really doesn't know what she's talking. So each of you is actually carrying on you a stream processing platform right now. Anyone want to volunteer what it might be? Your cell phone. right? So, but that is the exact problem with stream processing platforms. They're really specific and they do one thing. And so we really want to get away from that whole paradigm and go to the stream processing for everyone. If we go to the next one, but to go beyond being that hyper-specialized application and now become stream processing for everyone, we've got to do this rash of things that I have on this slide. And instead of going through this rash of things myself, I thought I'd ask Tom, Tom, is this a pipe dream or do we have a shot at making it real?
Well, let's find out. So, what I have here after I switch, let's say I'm the head of IT. I've got Marcia, who is the head of marketing. She's been bombarding me with emails all week about her pet project. She's trying to capture and tap into the transaction stream that's inside the bank and be able to send relevant offers to our high-value customers. And she's got this program in mind, and she wants that delivered. I've been pretty busy just trying to detect fraud and catch all the bad guys on the cyber events. But I've got this new stream processing platform installed. I've just done an enhancement to my fraud detection system. That worked out pretty well. I'm now able to have some extra capacity. I've got a senior developer available for a couple days. I'm going to have her go build some templates, a couple different templates to seed this project. So let's go take a look at what Sally's built. So she's got two different templates that she's built, and I'm going to bring up the batch version. We've got batch transactions that come every night, and I've got stream processing that comes in also on the inbound transactions. What we have here is we've got a step that we've got a drop server where our nightly transactions come in. We're going to FTP and pull those in. We're going to unpack it. We're going to go down here and augment the data. We've got an MCC in that transaction. We pull that from our database where we have the merchant information. We have some customer information that we augment in. We also format and get some location information and put it onto a topic. And what that enables us to do is be able to make that available to other applications or jobs available that now can take that transaction stream and the augmented data such that we now have on this stream going to the topic, we have a number of different fields available now to be able to make decisions on. So we've now got some decision-ready data, at least for our batch side. So then I said, well, let's go look at what she's done for the streaming side. So we'll go look at, she's created a new stream processing where we're tapping in right after the fraud detection. And let's go take a look at what she's built there. This time, we're pushing the transactions onto a topic where we're going to read that in, ingest it. We're doing the same thing on streaming as we did in batch. We're doing capturing the merchant, the customer data, formatting the geolocation, and putting it on the same topic that we had for the batch stream. What I'll do is I'll go back to Sally, since I need something to do. I'll just suggest to her that rather than replicate the logic, let's just reuse the streaming job right here, and we'll have that batch job just published to the same topic that we had up here, the original messages. That'll allow me to go play some golf later on. All right, so we've got the data ready, it's decision ready, but I still haven't built Marcia's application. So I've got a junior developer because Sally needs to go off, spend a few months building that Spark job for our data scientists, but I have a day of my junior developer where I can go build the application for Marcia. So there, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you building a job live. So this is Marcia project. And I'm going to configure a new job. And Sally she had the afternoon, she built a few templates for Joe, our junior developer. And I'm going to leverage those templates. I have a number of templates already available, but I'm going to leverage this. We know we've got that topic that we're going to read the transactions off of. Whoops. And I'm going to drag, as soon as I select it, drag that onto the canvas. I can verify that I have all the fields that you saw earlier off of the topic. And Marcia doesn't want to bombard the customers on every transaction they make, so she only wants the first transaction they make of the month. And this is a contextually based decision. We've got some context about the customer and the merchant, but now we want to calculate some context. Basically, what's the first transaction of the month? And Sally built a template just to do that, called the first transaction of the month. And I'm going to go add that to that particular first template. And this is a step where we're going to dynamically calculate and determine the first transaction of the month. Sally likes JavaScript, so she's built in down here some JavaScript to go calculate it. Platform keeps track of the profile, fetches the profile about the customer. If the profile doesn't exist, creates that profile and keeps a couple of state variables around that transaction. And in this particular case, just trying to determine the first transaction of the month. If a profile exists, makes a little test and saves that off. And then we can use that transaction down here to go filter and only send the first transaction of the month on down. Simple logic. Then we come down here, and now we need to do the decision. So what she wants to do, she's got some rules. Marcia had some rules she had in mind, and we're going to generate that customer offer, send that down, and she's built this template. So all Joe had to do was drag and drop the full template on there. We've got some rule processing being done. We're capturing the monitoring, filtering out only the ones that have the offer so we can send it to another job to select the right channel for that offer, and then be able to feed that off to another batch processing where we're going to do some data analysis from our scientists. Well, that's all good, but can we run this thing? Does it actually run? We're going to go run it. And it's now pending. It's getting submitted out to the cluster. In about 5 seconds, we are going to have it running. Can we monitor? Can we actually see what the messages are doing as they're flowing through? Sure, we can do that. We can even see on the individual streams all those being emitted. We'll put it in auto refresh. And as the job is running, you'll start to see some counts going off. If it is refreshing, well, it would normally run. And we would start seeing the counts. And as it's going, I had my UX person build the dashboard where we can start doing drill down on the data as it's being processed. They can start looking in and looking at the various categories of the transactions. They can see attributes about the customer as they're going, even figure out where the customers are located that have those particular offers being made. So with that, I think that's sort of real if it ran.
Awesome. I wish it ran. But what you essentially saw is stream processing coming into play for more than pump and dump. You know, this is where streams have been getting a lot of, I think, press. But what we just did is we brought in, you know, that stream of data. We augmented with some context. In a lot of the problems we're solving, we need that external context. Sometimes it could be, you know, shipped to us to some very batch-based system that's providing it to us. Sometimes we might be deriving context through some calculations. But I think most of all, we didn't have to have custom code. So, you could just very quickly serve one of your use cases through it. And we can drop any kind of analytics in. But very importantly, for all of you, we're serving a business where reliability is very important. So the fact that you process those transactions with some guarantees, that was very, very important to us. So that's all natively in the platform. If you want to see this technology in action, and if you happen to be in the DC area, please do come to this event. FICO has a lot of other platforms that we're actually going to be having out there in a hands-on lab, so you could come and give it a drive and give it a try. Thanks, everyone.